everybody. Welcome to Women in Retail Talks, the podcast where C suite executive women in the retail space share their stories of professional growth, leadership development, personal journeys, and more. I'm Melissa Campanelli, the co founder of the Women in Retail Leadership Circle, which, is, if you don't know, is a membership based community of executive women at leading retailers and brands. In today's episode, I'm thrilled to welcome Melissa Clayton, the founder and CEO of Tiny Tags, which is a fine jewelry brand dedicated to celebrating the gift of a child and the journey of motherhood through customizable name tags, lockets, and bracelets. A former CPA, Melissa left the corporate world after becoming a mom and started Tiny Tags as a personal creative outlet. Over the years, she transformed it from a hobby into a multi-million-dollar business, notably without external funding. Under her leadership, Tiny Tags has built a strong community of mothers sharing stories through their jewelry, launched retail partnerships, including launching a collection in more than 1,600 Target stores, and gained recognition, including being named Inc.'s 2024 Female Founders 250 list and the Inc. 5000 list for the third year in a row. We're so excited to have you here, Melissa. Thank you so much for joining us. You've been a part of our community for a while, so it's about time we did this podcast.
I know. Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
I'm so excited to talk to you and learn a little bit more about you and your journey and your business. So, as I just said, Tiny Tags just made the Inc. 5000 list for the third time in, I think, 4 years.
Yeah, we didn't apply 1 year, but yeah. So yeah, I'm really proud of that. That's been and as anyone knows, it's because of the amazing team that we have at Tiny Tag. So it's been exciting to get that recognition.
I actually did want to ask, besides the team, I mean, what do you think has fueled that consistent growth?
I think what if I had to say, okay, what have we done well? We've done a lot of things wrong. What we've done well, and I always say, I was saying to my husband last night, it's because of the books I have read. One of my favorite books I ever read was called Brand Warfare. And to put context,
Mhm.
this business has been around for 19 years, right? So I started hand stamping 19 years ago in my kitchen counter. The business you see today obviously is not that, but it has been a very slow journey, and I think that there's a lot of value in that because you can make mistakes and you learn, you pivot. But the one thing I'm proud of is that we have tried to build a brand, and I read a book called Brand Warfare. I actually listened to it many years ago, and that was pivotal for me.
Hmm.
And I think it's why we got in Target. I think it's why we've been in business for so long, why we have year-over-year growth every year is because I've always focused on building a brand and not just hawking jewelry. And when I first started, the competition was not what it is today. I mean, I think anyone now can jump online and start a website and sell jewelry. But we have always been very intentional about what we're putting out there. And it also helps that it is my heart and soul. This isn't just
Hmm.
marketing. It is what I feel. It is what I believe is that because I was someone that never really thought about motherhood. And when I became a mom, I was very that cliche. You wait till you have your own. And like many women, everything changed for me. And there was something that, and I won't go into it right now, but it really became, I think Tiny Tags almost healed a lot of my own childhood, I don't wanna say scars, but more like voids, and
Hmm.
when I took the time to tap into those emotions and using the business and using what we put out there as a way to kind of talk about those things, it's just been such a beautiful journey, and I love sharing it because I think so many younger entrepreneurs see the quick, immediate thought, raise money, idea, sell it, and for me, it's been the complete opposite.
That's super interesting. We were talking before the podcast about how, there is sort of that hustle culture with entrepreneurs, and it sounds like you're slow and steady has won the race for you. I actually meant to ask, when did you found the company?
I say that they were about 15 years old, but truly, I mean, I was hand stamping 19 years ago on my kitchen counter, and
Wow.
I think this is a lot of people say, "I wanna start a business, I don't know what to do." And I say, "Well, just find something you love," because when I started Tiny Tags, we were living in California, and I saw a woman wearing a hand stamped necklace, and I was like, "Oh, that's so cute. I'm gonna figure out how to make that." Now, mind you, this is before Instagram, no Etsy. It is a world that most people can't even remember,
Right.
and I was like, "I'm gonna figure out how to make these," and I bought a hand stamp set, I started stamping, and I gave up, threw everything in the counter. Truly forgot about it. 6 months later, I took a plane ride. I was bringing my son to go visit my grandmother, and I sat next to a woman on a plane, and I always say to people, my kids, talk to people on the plane, right? Now, don't just throw your ear pods in, like talk to people. And the woman next to me was a jewelry designer. We started chit-chatting, and I said, "Oh, that's funny," because I couldn't figure out how to blacken the letters in the sterling silver. And I was wearing the necklace I bought, right? So this wasn't some original idea, you know?
Right.
And she said, "Oh my gosh, I work at a jewelry supply store in San Francisco. Come in." She gave me her card. It's a chemical called liver of sulfur, and I'll get you set up. If I did not talk to that woman on that plane, 100% I would have not have moved forward with tiny tags. So for
Wow.
many years, I went to the store. She was not working. And for many years, I hand stamped and I sent them to friends, and I would get calls from grandmothers. I'd get checks in the mail, very old school. And it was like that for many years. And then when we moved back east, now my boys were older. And I really felt like, now we were doing like $150,000 in revenue. And I was like, okay, I have something here. And I was loving the connection I was making and the why people were reaching out to me and why they wanted a necklace. And that's when we really pivoted. My husband wound up quitting his job, and we wind up outsourcing manufacturing to local Rhode Island manufacturers. We went to laser engraving and completely changed the business.
I'm so glad you went over the history of it as well. That's really that's so interesting. I love that story about talking to people on the plane because I tend to be that person too that kind of puts on my headphones, but you never know who you can meet. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
So moving ahead, obviously slow and steady growth, doing what you love, but you must have been pretty excited when you noticed that Meghan Markle was wearing a tiny tags necklace or locket that and then I think it sold out in 24 hours. So what was that moment like for you? How did it shape brand momentum, all that good stuff?
So the celebrity effect is real, right? Over the years I mean, we had Meryl Streep wear tiny tags, which was a huge moment for us. And then most recently having Meghan Markle, and that is old fashioned hustle. And I love sharing all these stories with younger people. This was not through a PR firm. This was from someone I knew that was interviewing her because I have made connections in the editorial space over the many years of having the business, and she said that she was interviewing her. And I said, well, let tiny tags be the thank you gift. And she's like, oh, that's a great idea. And so we were able to send it to a real address. And then I just kept watching. And then when she did wear it, we were like jumping all over it. So yeah, we've gotten slack before on social about gifting celebrities. And I'm like, listen, if you don't understand the celebrity effect, I've talked to companies like with Taylor Swift. I was talking to an inflatable pool company. I mean, they make inflatable floaties, and Taylor
Right.
Swift changed their business, so the celebrity thing is real.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I think that's great. And it's important. There's a skill to it. I mean, you want to find people that would be the right type of person to promote. And, since she's so vocal about her children and her motherhood, how important motherhood is, that makes a lot of sense. So that must have been so exciting. But it sold out in 24 hours. Were you prepared for that or how did that all work? I mean, that must have been
No, we weren't
insane.
prepared for it. So, I mean, luckily we're pretty nimble that we can be like, okay, we need to make more ASAP, and we have the manufacturing capacity to do that. But I think for us, it was okay, how do you take that moment and capitalize on it? So there's tons of Meghan Markle fan accounts, and they are
Uh-huh.
constantly posting what she's wearing. So that's really, I think, what created the momentum was all the fan accounts. So that was really exciting.
Yeah, that's so cool.
And it's a gorgeous locket. I mean,
Yeah. I also wanted to talk about your partnership with Target. I mentioned it earlier. What lessons have you learned from that experience? So many people are desperate to get into Target, so that's exciting. And that you're in 1,600 stores is amazing.
so the way the Target thing happened, which again, I think it goes back to being focused on the long game and building a brand, is the buyer started following us on social media in 2017. And she reached out to me and said, would you ever consider Target? And I said, I would, but not now. And I said, I can't handle Target. My kids were still little. And I've been pretty, when I look at my journey, I've always felt like I'm almost still a stay-at-home mom because when my kids were little, it's like being able to work from home has been I'm such a fan of it because I wake up early, I can check emails, do everything. Kids wake up, have morning time with them. They go off to school, um, work, they come home, you hang out with them, and then they go and do like I live in a neighborhood, and when they were younger, they would just jump on their bikes. So I feel very fortunate that being able to work from home, and I know not everyone has that opportunity with a small business, but he reached out to me and I said, "I can't handle Target right now." I said, "But let's stay in touch." So we did, and then in 2022, we reconnected and I said, "You know, I think I can entertain the idea now." And we launched in 200 stores, a bespoke collection, $25. And I said, "Okay, we'll do 200 stores, we'll be cool, like Lily Pulitzer, one and done. I can't stay in Target," because I was really concerned about the brand. And then we crushed it. And then she said, "Will you come back?" And I truly went back to our mission. Another favorite book I love is called Scaling Up. And I
Mhm.
went back to my mission, and the mission never had the word exclusivity in it. And I said, if I can actually be in more Target stores and our message of gratitude, looking within the joy of motherhood. As an older mom now, and I have a younger sister, the difference in our journeys is incredible because she had social media and I didn't. Uh,
Mm.
no one ever saw my nursery. When my son was born, I bought a tea, I threw it up in the office, and that was his nursery. And I DM with so many moms, and like the idea of pressure over like what your motherhood journey looks like aesthetically, and when I hear of, like, kids having a brand, I feel like, "Wow, how grateful am I did not have that noise." So when Target asked to come back and I said, "If we can bring our message to a bigger audience, how do I say no to that?" And I'm so thankful that we did say yes, and now we're in over 1,600 stores. We have collections launching every quarter. And they've been amazing partners and so supportive of a woman-owned business. They understand we don't have deep, deep pockets, that we don't have investors, and it's been tremendous for us from a brand standpoint and also being able to talk more about what we talk about at Tiny Tags.
That's awesome. Yeah, it sounds like it's a great relationship and partnership. So that's so great. I'm going to shift gears for a minute. So, as the founder of a fast growing brand, how do you keep your team motivated and aligned with the company's mission?
I think I try to just be vulnerable and be really honest. I always say, like, I haven't done this before, and always making sure that everyone knows that this is not the Melissa ship. This is our ship, and we're all steering it together and leading by example. I think the one thing as a small business, we can't pay the corporate salaries that some people might have, but we absolutely can offer a life work balance. When I go to my son's lacrosse games or football games, no one knows what I do all day, right? I work from home. I don't pretend I'm going to a meeting. I say, I'm checking out, I'm going to my son's game. And for me, that is leading by example. And I think when we get together as a team, there are tears and tears of, like, how much this business has meant to us. I have said, You can't sit where I've sat for 18 years and not feel the immense gratitude for your healthy children today." We have made necklaces for so many mothers of angels. I have overnighted necklaces for a mother that wanted to bury a child in a matching necklace, and that changes you. You can't have those conversations and it doesn't change you and make you realize that how precious life is and how something can change in a minute. And one of the first necklaces I made was for a mother that lost her son. He was 5 years old. My son was five at the time. And that relationship and the email correspondence, and we're still friends today. It changed me. In this level of gratitude that I feel and the joy of a child is so much is because all of the stories I've heard over the years have become part of who I am,
Mm.
and they change how you look at every single day. I've talked to mothers that sent their kid on a school bus and didn't come home, and you live in that awareness, and that is why when we get together and, like, we actually talked about it at our last meeting, like, I don't get stressed because I'm always sitting in a place that, like, okay, as long as we're doing what we think is right, we're making good decisions, and we actually really care about our community, I'm good with that. And yes, maybe sales could dip and they could be bigger. I've said we could be a much bigger company if I had done X, Y, and Z, but I wasn't willing to sacrifice my time with my family. I wasn't willing to sacrifice what I want to leave on this earth. And that really is about gratitude and joy looking within. And it's not just about hockey jewelry for me.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's what keeps the team motivated. It's the message, you know? It sounds to me like the type of people that you hire or that you work with understand the mission. That's half of it right
Yeah.
there.
But it hasn't always been that way. I will say, when I look back now, I'm so angry I allowed toxic employees to stay on. And,
Right.
you feel bad, they're going through mental health stuff, but it is like, wow, 1 or 2 people and a negative person wants to bring everyone down with them, and we had 2 people in particular, they became buddies, and they would talk about everyone, and then one of them gave her notice, and I was thrilled that she gave her notice because I wanted to let her go.
Yeah.
I felt bad, and then I let her go, and this is a good note to everyone. I let her go, and then I went into her Slack channels the next day and changed her email and read all her Slacks and saw all the bad Slacks her and this other employee, and this was my econ manager. That you
Wow.
think she would know when someone quits, make sure the Slacks are deleted.
Yeah.
Read all of the nonsense, all of the negativity, trying to bring other employees down with them. And then I wanted to fire her the next day. And my husband said, no, wait, we have this massive econ project going on. So I had to wait like 3 weeks before I fired her. But now I look back, and then everybody was thrilled when I fired her. And now I'm like, God, how did I allow such toxic, bad energy to stay around?
Right.
Now I truly feel like I hire on energy first and attitude because I've no patience for it anymore.
Wow. That is a great story. I'm sure a lot of people will be able to relate to that.
Make sure you delete your slacks.
Yeah. But I
Yeah.
love what you said, higher on energy. That's so profound to me. I love that.
And
Because it
hire slow, fire fast. And that's why now I do a lot of 1099. So if we have to hire someone, we do a 1099 situation. They don't join our company meetings right away. We really kind of pigeonhole them and make sure
mm,
it's a right fit because it's a lot easier to tell a 1099 person that the work is dried up than like firing someone. It's a lot less.
wow, that is a great idea as well. Almost like having them act as a consultant in a way before you feel that they're the right fit. That is so super interesting. I love that. I would like to talk a little bit about the fact that you grew without outside funding. I find that super interesting. I feel like funding is such a hot topic with entrepreneurs, and especially now, and it's so difficult for entrepreneurs to get funding. How were you able to do that, and how has that influenced the way you lead your business?
So a couple things. One, the nature of the business has also allowed for that. I want to be sensitive to the person that's trying to build a skincare line, right? There's a lot of capital with that. With us, because we started so small with hand stamping, that was, I mean, I think the first hand stamp set was $100. And so it was very inexpensive. But even now, we have 2, 3 manufacturers in Rhode Island, and they are the ones that are holding, they make Tiffany's, they make David Yurman, but they're holding all the metal. They're holding all that inventory. Sure, we have like a couple $100,000 in inventory, but not the way other jewelry companies would have if they are having diamonds and what have you. So, just the nature of the business, someone buys it online and then we make it. So, the nature of that has been very helpful in not needing a lot of capital. It did require capital. We did a line of credit to give us some cushion. But again, because we have built the business so slowly over the years, and my husband and I both being former CPAs, and he's from upstate New York, and 100%, if I had raised money 5 years ago, we could have been, I was for sure, a $50 million company today, or more. I truly believe that. I look at like Kendra Scott, Little Words Projects, and I see a Tiny Tags following up the ranks with those 2 amazing female-founded companies. But I think for me, it was looking at my value system and what I cared about. And for me, raising money and having to answer to people and the pressure of that wasn't worth it. So again, it goes about like, what's your goal? I have said that to my husband. When I got my husband to quit his job, he's like, I can't, we need the income. And I said, what's our goal in life? Is it to buy more crap and have more stuff? And it's not. It's about time. And for my husband, leaving corporate America, taking that huge risk was everything against what he was taught as a kid, right? You have one job, you stay in it, you make money, you provide. But we were willing to, I said, I'd sell our house. I don't need fancy cars. We're not out there just accumulating more stuff. We value being able to have the time with our family, our boys, and be able to sleep at night from a financial standpoint. And that has always been, we're just naturally savers. So that was the trade-off. We've grown slowly, but we could have grown a lot faster for sure if we had raised money. So I just think that's where it's like looking within and what matters to you.
You went with your sort of mission like you do with everything, that's really what's important. It's not the outside funding. I love that as an entrepreneur, you do have the ability to choose either getting the outside funding or doing it yourself. It depends on how much you want to grow. And you obviously are going at the right pace for you. So that's a great message right there as well. Okay, so looking ahead, what excites you most about Tiny Tech's future? And what are some things that you're working on?
Really excited. I truly almost feel like I'm just getting started. I'll be an empty nester next year, which I'm not looking forward to. But it does allow I've said no to a lot of things because
Yeah.
I don't wanna leave home, and I actually feel like I love traveling, I love meeting people, so I feel like I will say yes to so many more things. We are gonna be at launching in the paper store next year, which is about 130 chain on the East Coast. I'm excited about that. We are in talks with a lot of other wholesale opportunities, and before Target, I was like, "Oh, no wholesale." Like, we are D2C, D2C, and now I'm realizing how fun it is. I would love a tiny tag store someday once I settle down, but for the foreseeable future, I wanna be able to travel. I love meeting our customers. I love meeting community. So to the idea that we could have a space that I could actually meet people because I'll jump on customer service even now because there's nothing I love more is like a young dad who's looking to make a gift for his wife. And I feel like I'm like, she will melt if you do this. So that's what I love. So I can see doing more retail partnerships. And I think also hitting the road more. I'll definitely have to stay busy, busier than I am now.
Well, it sounds like you have so much to look forward to. I know that feeling of being an empty nester. I went through that a couple years ago, and it's still a little tough. You're so used
Yeah.
to raising your kids all these years, so it's a little adjusting, I guess is how I would refer to it as. But it was so great to chat with you, Melissa, and learn. I've known you for many years. I didn't know a lot of your backstory, so this is super interesting. And thank you for sharing your wisdom, and really appreciate you having you on the podcast. So good luck with everything.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening. For more information on this podcast, please check out our podcast channel page at womeninretail.com/podcasts for show notes. Women in Retail Talks is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and Spotify. Make sure to subscribe on our podcast channel page as well. If you've enjoyed this episode, please take a few moments to rate and review. To learn more about women in retail and become a member of this amazing community, visit womeninretail.com. Thanks, and until next time, this has been Women in Retail Talks.